as I'd planned. That's right. If you need something done well, you need the Wild Dog Company. You've come to the right place.
Woo! So, I think it goes without saying, I'm a little bit excited that Jenua is finally in the fucking game. Only took like, what, 5 years? But hey, cool. Either way, we're going into, like, I'm going to be completely honest with you, a lot of these matches were specifically picked because I knew that Jenua would win them. But let's go ahead and break it all down exactly. So we're fighting Abyssal Yufine, Conqueror Lilias, and a Sharun. So the big thing in particular is we have Elvira here just so that we can actually beat the Abyssal Yufine so that we're not like in a state where, oh no, too much time's passed, Abyssal Yufine just fucking auto wins because, yo, great fucking character, amazing balance. But the other big important thing is, right here was like a kind of a safe-ish test of trying out Plan A. So right here, Plan A procs, because we hit under 50% HP, we get ourselves we only get one battle's worth of immortality, so it never comes back, and then we also happen to do an attack before we actually got that enrage right there, so we had attack buff, and we were able to go into the Sharun and did a hefty over 20k damage. Now, that is element advantage, so it's still pretty fucking good. Now, I haven't tested all of the means of like every bit of damage that Jenua really does into all sorts of things. The biggest thing in particular that does need to be tested is how he fares against Icarina. But the big thing in particular that is something that you should probably try your best to pay attention to is when you have Enrage, it's absolutely not fucking worth it to use the S3 raw. If you ever have the S3 and then you do have Enrage, just go for the S1, because not only will it give you attack buff, but it also is just like, there's not really any benefit from just throwing out the S3 raw, because you're going to get it anyway while you have Enrage. But either way, that was round numero uno. Now let's talk about round numero dos, the thing that nobody gives a flying fuck about because it's not Jenua related. But hey, things happen, guys. For example, my Destina was faster than like all of this shit. So then, of course, it's like, oh, cool. So Unbound Arowell is going to come in and stun my martial artist Ken. So now my counterplay that I was going to do is straight up not fucking happening. Good for us that we still have Eaton here with us so that we can reduce some of that fucking damage. And hey, let's just boost ML Ken back up to the top, because what we really need is we need to get access to his S3 so that we can give ourselves attack buff, because that right there is piddly-ass damage going into an Unbound Arowell escort boosted fucking Navy Captain Landy and a Choux. So, yeah, I'm actually feeling a little bit nervous right here. But as soon as I go for this S3, I get fucking lucky. I'll explain why. Because damage goes in, oh no's, counterattack. And no extra attack. If the extra fucking follow-up attack happened right there from the Choux, we probably would have been fucking cooked. Thankfully, it doesn't happen. But either way, now, right here, this is going to trigger that Choux. She goes in down on the CR bar. Then she goes into my martial artist Ken. And, of course, I don't fucking kill. I thought for sure I was going to kill that bitch right then and there. But, of course, that didn't happen. So now I'm like, I can't survive an attack from Navy Captain Landy. So let's get the provoke. Cool. And then this attacks Eaton. Then you get a non-critical attack from the martial artist Ken to go into her. Thankfully for her, she had fucking, like, what, Death Break and took a fuckload of damage anyway. Kills the Unbound Knight Arowell and the Navy Captain Landy. Then all you got left is Choux. Let's just knock her out. Woo! That was stupid. Let's talk about Jenua again. So, this one team right here as well is, this is a Zio, a Iwinter, and a Senya. So, the big thing in particular that I wanted to try and do is like, okay, I'll go into a gamble here. Let's assume this isn't an effectiveness Zio. And it turns out it wasn't. It was a damage Zio. So, we don't get pushed back. So now I'm going to go for the S2, and then we're going to go for the S3 as well on Jenua. Something that we honestly don't really need on Jenua, because he does give himself attack buff. But if you have attack buff at the start of the round, so you don't have to use S1, you can just straight up go ahead and throw out the S3, and we happen to land a crit. So that's 20k damage, no enrage, plus attack buff onto the Senya. That's actually pretty good. The once again, the biggest thing that I'm really lacking is the fact that I don't have a good proper test into like a miss, because I don't know what my damage values are into a miss. I'll damage calculate later if I happen to remember. But either way, Roana's there strictly to bait all the attacks from my winter. The Ahmed was there strictly as a means of boosting and getting the Jenua online, because this test also kind of showcases that if Jenua is not being targeted and you're not going to have access to plan A because he's straight up not taking damage, guess what? He still functions, and he's still actually kind of scary, because his S3 fucking hurts, and the S1 hurts as well, and auto-attack buffs itself. So as soon as he does it once, and if you have Soul Burn, guess what? You have Gab for the rest of the fucking fight, if you don't get stripped. And hey, that's Jenua for you, baby. That's fucking damage. So now, let's go into yet another fun as fuck team, because we have to utilize Martial Artist Ken, because Navy Captain Landy is incredibly fucking stupid. So, what we're gonna go for is, hey, it's Conqueror Lilias. Let's throw Moon Bunny on that bitch, because Conqueror Lilias is a stupid fucking bitch, and she really needs to be, she needs to be taken out of this fucking game. But hey, whatever. Everybody else loves her. I guess I'm the only one who hates her. Whatevs. So hey, we gain access to Skill Null. We have we have immunity. We're pretty much primed and ready. We can take one really good hit from the Abyssal Yufine or the Navy Captain Landy. The Abyssal Yufine then goes. We pretty much do a big bunch of damage here. We do a whole bunch of damage there as well. Basically, yeah, we're reacting numerous times to all these characters, and this should ultimately kill the Navy Captain Landy, which it straight up does. Now all you have left is Abyssal Yufine, and do not ask me why this team does not have, like, Holy Sack on the Abyssal Yufine. Maybe it was Holy Sack, and it straight up just wasn't plus 30, or maybe it was another artifact. Like I said, this wasn't the greatest of tests, because I wanted to throw Jenua at more of these things, but the big reason why you didn't see me use Jenua here was because you're going into Navy Captain Landy. Navy Captain Landy has anti-crit mechanics and gives the whole goddamn team anti-crit. So, if you're dealing with anti-crit shit, Jenua is not a very great option, because if he doesn't crit, he doesn't do the splash damage on his S3. So, maybe you need that, maybe you don't. I don't know, guys. It's literally day fucking 1. We'll see how crazy the character really is in some time. And then finally, right here, this team is non-existent. Don't ever do this team. For example, the Shadow Knight Pyllis is on a Hillig Lance. Shadow Knight Pyllis without Rocket Punch is literally no threat. And also, that is 2 darks going into 1 light. So we have Magic Scholar Doris with us. They'll tank any and all of those hits. We have Mascot Hazel with us, so we have Gab opening turn. Go into the Lone Crescent Bellona, knock her out of fucking existence. I didn't happen to see the damage for that, but it was somewhere in the 20Ks as well. So I have a triple torrent set on my Jenua, and basically his damage just feels extremely consistent. I do not know if the triple torrent set is the actual set that you want to really go for, because the triple torrent set, it's kind of debatable. It seems like maybe Destruction Torrent is a more better option, because the one thing that you don't want to put on him, you don't want to put Pen Set on him, because Pen has absolutely no effect on Bite, because that's already a complete 100% Def Pen. The only thing it would affect is the S1, and I just don't think that there's really any value in that. But either way, yeah, we killed the Lone Crescent Bellona on turn 1 because we had buffs. We killed the Ocean Breeze Luluca just because, hey, we're red, element advantage, do lots of damage. And then also straight up, like, even if this was like a Shadow Knight Pyllis that was on Rocket Punch, she's really not a threat because she's just going to be hard focused into Doris. So let's just say this Shadow Knight Pyllis was the Giga Chad of like defense and HP, which it's not. It's level 50, but fucking cut me a break here. We use Bite. Look at the damage that we do here. Because this pierces. That's 22,000. Okay. Seems legit to me. And then finally, for one more team, utilizing Martial Artist Kin, because LOL lights, LOL anti-crit, LOL all this dumb fucking shit that nobody likes fighting. The game is in a very unfun state right now. Moon Bunny. Let's counter that Conqueror Lilias. Now everybody has skill null and immunity. Hooray! Now, here's where I actually made somewhat of a mistake. I initially went for the Navy Captain Landy, thinking that she was going to be the biggest threat. Turns out, the Lionheart Cermia here actually does some fucking decent-ass damage. Because, like, right here, we do 31k. Now, watch the damage from the Lionheart Cermia. So that's 4k right there, but then we hit her again. And right here, we get a dual attack from the Conqueror Lilias. If that was even just a little bit more, and if we didn't really already go into her a fair bit, that Lionheart might have actually fucking killed my Ken. And kind of scary. But either way, boys, that's it. Base Jenua. Hooray. So here's the triple torrent set that I'm using on Jenua, and so far I'm pretty happy with the damage. Yes, it is 99.8% crit. Maybe one of these fucking days, like Smilegate will buff it so that like that whole percent, that decibel point fucking stat on crit rate that's in your imprint concentration. Maybe they'll round up one of these days so that we don't have to see that stupid shit, because nothing else in this goddamn game deals with decimal points. I don't know why the fuck it exists. It's just there. But basically, yeah, the biggest thing that I've noticed with Jenua so far is if you're going into units and there's no, like, light counter, or no, not light counter, ice counter, because the big things that will fuck him up are his S2, where you get the cleanse. That is a skill. That is like an animation. So guess what? Knockwall knocks him out. So you're not going to see that effect whenever Knockwall goes in with S3. And you could... And the other thing as well is, I didn't go into any Icarinas. Yes, he can tank an Icarina like a fucking champ. And he'll also tank a Ran like a champ as well. And sadly, I just straight up didn't see any of those to fight. Because I dodged a lot of like the big towers on this Guild War, because a lot of them were rocking really weird shit. Like Rem was on some of them. And I was like, yeah, I don't want to fight Rem with fucking Jenua. This sounds terrible. But like, the biggest thing I've noticed is if he's not going to be targeted and he just straight up is left for free on the field, he'll fucking kill about anything there. As well as just the fact that he's an anti-cleave unit that doesn't need to be an anti-cleave unit. But either way, that's Jenua, boys. If you like this video, leave a like. If you want to see more of my stuff, hit subscribe. Ooh, ooh.